the romance of Paris and the smart work that's happening at the Large Hadron Collider, all that and more, plus some of our favourite movies this week on the Mish and Zach Podcast. Mish and Zach.
Welcome to the Mish and Zach podcast during this holiday season. I'm Mish. I'm here with Zach, and we have Tom with us as well. Happy holidays to everybody.
Can I just say, Tom, you're a dear friend.
Thank you.
Yeah. I've always considered you my friend. In fact, I've known you for longer than Zach, and
That's
you've been
true.
my friend since day one.
That's true.
We became friends almost instantly.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I should bring in photos of us from my year 12 musical.
Yeah, you
that's
should.
fine.
I've never
Musical.
seen them. That'd be great
What
to see.
High School Musical?
We did Grease.
Oh, I remember.
And that's where I met Tom. And there's photos of us when we were like little babies.
Could
I'd
you
love to see
imagine? Could you imagine having to sit through that?
Oh, I went
Be so bad.
recently-ish, a few months ago. I went to my niece's dance concert, and I was so excited because I love my nieces.
How
They are
old?
4.
Okay.
They are gremlins, right? I love them.
Yeah, little gremlins.
And I was like, oh my God, this is so exciting. And they were playing, it was Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and they're they're not grade 4, they're 4-year-old dance troupe was the Chocolate River. That was the dance. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm so excited. And they had these little brown tutus. They looked adorable, right? Just like poo. No, they looked lovely. And I was so excited to see them. Like, this is going to be great. So the whole of this dance studio put on the whole of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I was like, oh, this will be great. So I go along to this dance.
Can I tell you already? Do you know where my alarm bells are going?
Yeah, okay.
My alarm bells are Chocolate River as a dance.
Yeah.
Like, I know the story of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And if we're at Chocolate River as a dance.
Yeah.
Anyway, carry on.
Yeah, no, yeah, you're following. And I sat down with my family, and I was so excited. I bought them each some roses. It was really cute. And then all of a sudden, I realised as the lights dimmed and the first scene started, I was like, oh no, this is 3 hours of watching under 12s dance. Not great. Like
But dance as well as an under 12 can dance.
Exactly. And it was like, this is going to be really painful. And it was. It really was. Some of it was cute, but some of it, they weren't good. Like, it's a difference between sitting over 3 hours of good dancing and watching 3 hours of not only shit dancing, but shit dancing done by people who don't want people looking at them.
Like people getting distracted.
Yeah. It was just wild. It was just like the weirdest 3 hours of my life. And it wasn't air conditioned. It was really hot.
That's so funny.
I don't know how we got onto that, but
It's so for me, what it is as soon as I hear Chocolate River dance.
well, they were perfect. My nieces were
Oh,
perfect.
no, yeah, it would have been perfect. But I go, how many, because it's like there's Oompa Loompas, there's many Oompa Loompas, there's many Oompa Loompa sections, there's many different areas.
Lots of different candy dances, you know?
Like,
Lollipop, go, like that stuff.
there are so many scenes and moments and characters and interactions that I go, if you're at a point, I'm shocked that it was a tight 3 hours. When I hear Chocolate River dance, that's...
the dance went for 30 seconds, though. They're only 4. Like, they don't, you know.
But it's like that's, you're really getting into the minutiae. You're like breaking open, that sounds like an experimental work, like breaking open Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and displaying everything.
The thing is, watching like sweet kids who love to dance for a few minutes is really lovely and sweet. But it really wears thin after about 5 minutes.
Well, it's like, I don't know any of these.
I don't know these kids. They're not cute to me. That kid's not good at this. Your kid is not a good dancer.
Wow.
Wow.
They're not pointing their toes.
Yeah.
They're not doing the full movement.
Yeah.
They look petrified. I'm bored. I am bored. Your child has made me bored.
There's
But look
something
at my
about-
nieces. Aren't they perfect?
They're perfect.
They are perfect.
When you are a performer, and you know we've been doing what we do for so long now, I forget that like at that level, at 4-year-old level, like there are just fundamentals that I take for granted. Like when I'm on stage with Auntie Donna and Tom's on the side hitting all those cues, playing that music, like, you know, sure, I'm worried, hey, what if I forget a line? I'm worried, what if I like forget to change the reference for this place we're performing in? I'm not worried that like Broden will get distracted by the lights.
Yeah. Or like Mark will get upset because there's too many people in the audience looking at him. So he'll have to turn his back to do it.
He'll crawl up into
Or have an adult put their hand over his eyes so that he can't see the people in the audience.
I'll be like, oh, fuck, I forgot that bit of a dance move.
Or or if that does happen, you're pretty certain Broden's not going to start crying.
Not on stage.
Not on stage. Oh, very good.
So last week, we promised I would talk about my little holiday because I went on a little holiday.
Saying we promised we'd talk about my little holiday makes it sound like you were in a psych ward for a bit.
Then we talked.
Now, I did promise that I would speak about my little holiday.
Well, last week we did talk about that little holiday where I watched all the fucked up movies.
You're so right, though. It's like my little problem with the bottle.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I said that we would speak about my little trip that I took.
So as you know,
I'm not proud of it.
As you know, I was away from the podcast for a little while.
Yeah.
But in like a real 1940s, like 1940s shame.
Then you have flashbacks and it's you getting like electroshock therapy.
I'd been having some unchristian thoughts. And I knew better to nip that in the bud than. As you know, I'd been seen at some bars on the other end of town, and
Oh, so good. So tell us all about your little holiday.
well, you know, I see now that those bars are not. So I went on a little holiday. To set up the context, Auntie Donna did a UK island tour, then we did a US Canada tour. I had 2.5 weeks off in the middle, and I went to Paris with my parents.
Love Paris.
I've never been to Paris before. My parents came to watch me. Mum had never seen me perform overseas. She really wanted to see me perform in London, came and watched me in London, and then was like, I didn't get many of the references. I'm like, yeah, we changed them for London.
That's a very young mum.
and then we went to Paris, and that was lovely. I had a lovely time. And they would go to bed early, and then I would walk the streets of Paris like a film I haven't watched because I refuse to watch his films. But I've heard there's a film called Midnight in Paris where he does that. It's lovely.
Yeah, beautiful.
So I was walking around Paris, and it was lovely. I had these great nights, like discovering the nighttime Paris.
I love Paris.
It is. Have you ever been, Tom?
No, absolutely not.
I had no interest.
Yeah, I hate the French.
Oh, I love the French.
Okay.
I love the way I love the French. But I was like, I had no real interest in Paris. I think there's this really romantic idea of it.
The food, though, is you go for the food, right?
Yeah.
Isn't where all the
they
good
don't.
restaurants
No, I
are?
think it looks so. I think every corner you turn looks like a postcard.
Well, this is the thing, right?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I'm sure it's just a big city like any other city, and you know, blah 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 blah. And then and this is what I've been told as well by our British sound guy.
Yeah.
And the British don't get it because they think Britain has good food.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
And they're like, what's France got? It's like they put salt on their food for one thing,
Yeah.
guys. Anyway.
Do you know, and also in like British people, sometimes they don't go salt, but they'll put vinegar, but no salt.
Yeah. Oh,
That's
yeah.
just to feel something. That's not even for taste. If you're not putting salt and vinegar together and you're just doing vinegar, that's just for feelings.
Just to clean your insides.
Yeah, that's just like you know what I mean? Salt and vinegar is a flavor profile. You're just using vinegar. That is literally just because you need your mouth to be activated.
I will say though, the French are great with food. They're very good with wine. Their restaurants don't do a lot of vegetables.
Sure,
They could do with a lot, like it's all meat.
I just know every time I watch Chef's Table, every single chef is
Everyone
trained
of
in
them is
France.
French,
It's
yeah.
like everything's French, right?
And like they know how. Anyway, so we'll go to our break. Then I'll tell you about France. I guess I don't know. Anyway, we're back. Went to Paris. I loved Paris.
I love
And
Paris.
this is what I was going to say is I got off the train and I'm like, oh, it looks like the fucking postcards.
Yeah.
It looks like what you imagine France will look like. And that is because they had like a town planner and a dictator that just like raised the city 150 years ago. But, well, heck, they're all dead now, so it's all good to me. It is a beautiful city.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
And it's like, it's just one of those cities. It's like I get it. I get why people love it. I literally spent the whole time being like, I want to write the great American novel.
Yeah.
I just want to like live here. I want to live in an attic, and I want to have a typewriter, and I want to write. And I can't.
Yeah,
write.
just sitting around naked from the waist down, writing poetry with beautiful women.
Yes.
That's what I want.
Yes, and then and they have all these all these cafes, and it's this thing of like, but like they're allowed to smoke.
Yeah, you can smoke and tell people to fuck off.
Yeah.
It's so nice.
You can just and I did that. I would go, my parents would go to sleep, and then I'd wander the streets, and then I'd go, you know what? I'm just going to sit down here, get a glass of red wine, get a little peanut. I bought a packet of cigarettes. I'm not a smoker, but I was like, I have to. I was like, I kept saying to my mum, I'm like, Mum, I'm going to, Mum was like, oh. I was like, I'm going to go buy a packet of cigarettes and a moleskin diary. I got to do it. And then, but then in the same breath, every time we pass somewhere, like any of the like really touristy things, I'm like, we've got to get a beret so we fit in. And they're like, I don't know when you're joking and when you're not. And then and I bought a packet of cigarettes, and I smoked a cigarette, felt like shit because I'm not a smoker.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, this is so cool. And it's just like, I was like, I fully just want to get a book deal.
Yeah.
And then blow all my money in Paris and then figure it out.
Can't you imagine if you had the money, if you were rich enough, just retiring in Paris? That's like that.
Literally, I just want to get an advance.
I want to be
deal.
a 65-year-old woman just smoking and snarling and fucking in Paris.
Oh yeah.
That's all I want. Everything I do in my life is in the lead up to being a 60 to 70-year-old woman smoking, snarling, and fucking in Paris. I have a very, very interesting relationship with Paris because my life fundamentally changed in Paris.
Oh.
Would you like to hear my story?
Yeah.
I'll try not to make it too long, but I've only been to Paris once, and it was for 5 days. But it was really like a big, big changing moment in my life because I was doing the big. I say this like everyone does it, totally recognizing that they don't. But it was the big Europe trip I did in my mid-20s, right? And I did it with my friend.
Well, I didn't do it. Yeah, I didn't do it. I was.
So a lot of people do. I saved up all my money and I was like, I'm going to go to Europe. I did 6 weeks in Europe on a budget, my friends. But me and my dear friend went to Europe together. And when we were in Paris, unfortunately, the two of us, me and my friend, we both got sick. So we got this little virus, right? It was fine. We were still able to walk everywhere and see everything, but we were just a little bit snotty and a bit sick. And one day we were sitting in a park, feeling a bit snotty, a bit sick, reading and smoking and drinking and eating cheese. And I took a bite of food in Paris and I swallowed it and it got stuck in my throat. And I was like, oh, that's weird. And then it kind of passed and I was like, oh, that's fine. Took too big a bite. What a fatty. That was the vibe, right? I was like, so I took a smaller bite. Same thing happened. Stopped in my throat. I was like, the fuck's going on? Now, long story short, it took me 1.5 years to figure out, after that got worse and worse and worse every time I ate food for the next 1.5 years, that I have this condition called achalasia, which means I have no nerve ending, all the nerve endings into my esophagus seized. You both know this. I'm telling you like you don't.
Yeah, no, but
but yeah, my esophagus seized and I needed surgery. And because of a virus I caught in Paris, and it
happened because of
they don't know. So that because it's such a rare condition, this thing called achalasia, it's such a rare condition that they don't really know how it started. But when my specialist said, it sounds very much to me like if you and I got a virus, right, your body would go, ugh, yuck, a virus. Here's a lot of snot and some phlegm, and we might make your throat a bit scratchy. That virus says to me, oh, no, a virus, damn. Okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to kill off all the nerve endings into your esophagus. And once they're dead.
That's the theory.
Yeah, they can't be reignited, right? So that was one of the theories, but they don't know exactly. But it ended up being this very, very like stressful thing. But I remember very clearly that it started for me in Paris.
I thought you
probably
were
a boring.
I thought
story,
you were going. Well, I thought you were going to talk about getting a good dick in from a French guy.
That was before.
And then you talk about
I got
fucking
Appalachia.
nerve endings in your fucking esophagus.
Anyway, after I couldn't swallow, I took some dick, and it was fine.
I thought you were going to say that you took a bite of like a steak and you were like, you know what, not for me. And then you put down the steak and never picked it up again.
No, I was vegetarian in France, which was very, very hard.
Just when you were like, my life changed forever in Paris.
Yeah.
And it's like, because I can't swallow good no more.
I met Leon,
I met Leon. And then
a 57-year-old poet. And we made love for 3 days. That was my big Paris story. Just a little something for people who didn't know that about me, because I've got a little fucked up throat. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's sick. So then I went to Switzerland.
Been there too.
And why did I go to Switzerland? I went to Switzerland. Now, I'll have announced.
Did you go to Switzerland to sit on the fence?
Someone's getting 20th century political. Someone's got something to say.
No, I don't.
Someone's got some opinions. Someone's got some opinions on the geopolitics of Europe over the last 400 years. And the complex nature of being a neutral state in such hard times.
Probably not for the pod though. I'll be pop.
Anyway, actually, no. To be fair, the reason I was in Switzerland was because Switzerland is a neutral state, because that is where Cern is. And I got an invitation. One of Auntie Donna's fans is a physicist. He has a PhD and like 2 postdocs. One of the smartest people I've ever met. He sent an email saying, hey, while you guys are touring the UK, if you'd like to come to Cern, let me know. And the other guys went home. But I was like, heck, I'm in Paris. And to an Australian, Paris it's a 3-hour train ride from Paris to Geneva. And to an Australian, that's nothing. To a European, that's insane. Mm-hmm. But to an Australian, that's like, why not?
Pop over,
Yeah. So I popped over. And I got a tour of Cern. Cern is where the Large Hadron Collider is.
Okay.
And I got a tour of the of Cern, and I saw some of the smaller colliders.
Where in Switzerland?
At Geneva. Well, actually, it's just out of Geneva, Cern. But then it crosses over the border into France. So the Large Hadron Collider. Do you know the Large Hadron Collider?
No.
Mish? The Large you know about it, Tom, because you're a bit of a physics guy. The Large Hadron Collider is now. I'm going to get every single number wrong. I'm going to get everything wrong. And there's social media people that gave me the tour are going to watch this video and go, oh, brother. Because I was like, I'll just do a post. I forgot I had a podcast. I think it's 11 kilometers, maybe bigger. Basically, quantum mechanics, Mish. The way they discovered, here's how I'll describe it. The way they discovered the sort of physics that makes microwaves possible, that makes nuclear bombs possible, that makes MRI machines possible, that made TVs possible. The way they discovered atoms and electrons and everything, a lot of the time, a big way they discovered those things, lots of different experiments, but one of the main ones was a thing called particle colliders, where they would basically send particles smashing into each other, and then they would find ways of recording what happens when they smash into each other. So when 2 particles smash into each other, like what happens after that, what they break into, that's how they discover things. The Large Hadron Collider.
Like people.
Now, can you elaborate on that?
Nah.
Well, yeah, no, I think that's true, actually.
Yeah.
I think that's very true. You don't know a person until you put them with someone else. Yeah. Yeah, that's very deep.
Thanks.
After we collided.
Yeah.
You fucking get it. You get it, mate.
Yeah.
We've got, honestly, we need to talk more. Quick, just very, very quick side note. Tom's watched all the After movies.
Yeah.
You have?
Yeah, because of his wife. His wife made him watch them all.
So you weren't with us when we were... So we got to talk about them in the new year. Well, that's going to be one of the podcasts.
Yeah,
after.
Yeah, we're going to have a... Yeah, that's going to...
Oh, you going to... No, I want to watch it.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, we'll
No,
do.
that's
Should we do
entirely
after
available.
Arama? Maybe that's like
after Rama.
After
Yeah,
Arama
that's a
might be
good
because
one.
there's 4 of them, isn't there?
And if you
5?
want to see After Arama, hashtag for Renga Renga Rama.
No,
That's going to
please
get
stop.
you.
I don't want it. I don't want it.
So anyway, the Large Hadron Collider. Basically, the way they discovered electron. I don't know exactly, but is these colliders, right? And they used to just be as big as the labs they were in. But then, in order to get the particles going fast enough, to get the collisions strong enough to discover new things, they have to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And basically, they built one that is huge, 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 huge. It's underground. It's kilometers long. And they send these particles racing around in these like packets, racing kilometers around, and then they smash them.
Underground?
Underground.
Can you feel it?
No. They're particles. They're tiny. It's a beam. The beam is like tiny. You can't feel it, but they have these. Basically, I'm describing it so poorly, but basically they have underground this kilometers long circular tunnel that has within it a vacuum, right? So it's more of a vacuum than the vacuum of space. It's colder than space, and and they send these particles spinning around, and then they have 3 or 4 big detectors around that, and the detectors are huge. They're multiple stories high. They've got like billions of dollars of technology in them, and then they just send these particles crashing into each other. And then they record one in every I don't know, I'm not going to say the numbers, but they record these collisions, and then they use these detectors, they trace the collisions back. They use physics, they use the maths of physics to sort of, they say there's something like 60 collisions, 60 collisions in an event, and then so like a particle will crash into another particle, and then it will break up into many different other kinds of particles, and then almost instantaneously break up into another kind of particle. And then what they do is they take that information, they record it again and again and again, and then they take that information from these detectors, different detectors, and they backtrack. They use physics to backtrack all of that information to get information about those collisions. And that's how they discover new particles, they discover new things. It's like the absolute cutting edge of physics and science. It's like the first half of Contact, but they're doing it with particle collisions.
How nice that you got to do this.
It was so fascinating. It was like, yeah, and so I didn't get to see the detectors because they were running the collisions, but I got to go underground. I got to see one of the detectors sort of control rooms, and they have people sitting there like recording it. I got to see the computers that take in the information, because the information is just like vast amounts of information. Mm-hmm. It's how they discovered a new particle with it called the I'm having a mental blank.
The Higgs one.
The Higgs boson. That's how they discovered the Higgs boson. So they
the Nick Cave song, Higgs Boson Blues.
Oh, yeah. And that would have been written around that time. So this guy in the 60s proposed that this particle, and then they discovered it, about 10 years ago. They also haven't discovered a lot of things they thought they would find. There were things called symmetries, which I've never really understood, but my tour guide explained it to me, and I'm starting to understand it a little bit better. But there are asymmetries where there should be symmetries, things that should be the same that aren't the same, and that's odd. And they were hoping to discover things in this collider that they haven't, and that's really interesting. Like the way science works is, you have all these theories and you have decades of theories, and then you test it, and then it's something that people don't understand is like you test it, and then unlike religion, unlike philosophy, unlike a lot of other things, you test it and you go, with science, it's like, well,
we were wrong, and that's equally
interesting.
Yeah.
And so there was a lot of things they were expecting to find that they didn't, and that's interesting. So they were talking to me about how they want to build an even bigger one now,
where?
There as well. But that's going to cost billions of dollars, and to make the argument is so fascinating, because you've got to get Cern is a collaboration between, like something like a dozen European countries, and they all come together and they all put this money in. And for science that's so on the cutting edge, it's hard to like make an argument for it. It's cool. It's like really like, and they made some really cool arguments. I was talking to them about, they were saying, one thing I never realized is the science, the technology that comes from making these colliders. Like, to make those collisions happen, they have to make technology that then you can apply to like hospitals and all of that. So there is a practical point. Also, it was stuff like this that then eventually led to TVs and MRI machines, so like, and microwaves. So like those discoveries might have or will have a point in 100 years, but it's something so cool about like exploring and discovering without knowing the commercial point of it, and spending that money and having that collaboration to do that. It really reminded me of what like we do, or like not comedy side of things, but like, sometimes you just sort of go, there's all these economic arguments about like funding the arts and funding the ABC and funding theatre, and you always go like, we always fall into these traps of like, here's the economic benefits, here's how many people it employs, and then like ultimately it's just like we just should, because we're human beings and we should make art. It was the same with this. It's like we should just try to discover stuff. It was like one of the coolest, most interesting things I've ever done, and I still haven't like processed it, because it was just like walking around like with a hard
Very
hat.
cool.
Yeah.
How nice.
Isn't that interesting?
Very interesting.
I don't know. Isn't that cool?
Yeah, it's
I thought
sick.
you would find that like
Yeah, no,
terribly
that's very
boring.
cool. No, I think it's really cool. And I'm happy for you. You know what I mean? Like, wow, I'm really happy that was a solo trip. That's cool for you, man.
But it's also, I think the thing I'll say to anyone who has like, there would be listeners that know about it. I think the thing I was expecting like something really fancy and futuristic. And what I saw, like we went to the canteen and it was just like working scientists, like doing their job. And it really reminded me of the first hour of Contact, where they're just like listening, they're just sitting there. They're not doing anything with the data yet. There are people there that do stuff with the data, but it's just about recording. It's just about like listening or like trying to find that information. And it really reminded me of that. And I thought that's a thing that's very rarely shown, and Contact gets it so well.
Yeah, or like the scientists in Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs as well.
What did you fit in that?
I don't know, just the top.
But I also, but there was something really cool. They showed older particle colliders. Like he showed me like ones from the 60s and 70s and like how it built up, and you go, oh, it's actually a very like physical thing they're doing. They're really like doing something there, which is smashing particles together. And like so above my head, 90% of it I was just like, fuck, you guys are smart. Like truly they would explain something, I'd be like, fucking hell, man, like smart shit.
Smart people.
Smart, yeah. So that was really cool. And then I went to Miami.
Should we save that for next week?
Yeah, I reckon Beck will have opinions on Miami.
Oh, yeah, of course. Oh, we've just given away who our guest is now.
Next week, Beck, but not this Thursday.
No.
Should we talk about this Thursday?
Well, do you want to do what's something cool you watched this week?
Oh, yeah, sorry. I thought we were, yeah.
You just got very carried away in your little science stuff.
That was good, interesting stuff.
But
it was.
Yeah. Well, I would hate for people to miss out on what's something cool we've watched this week.
Hit it, Zach.
What's something cool you've watched this week? Starting with Mish.
All right. So, I'm pretty sure I can talk about it. It's well and truly long gone now. But obviously, Zach and I have been apart for a long time, which is great for what's something cool you watch this week, because we haven't discussed a lot of the stuff that we've watched.
I listed them all last week. But
something really fucking cool that I got to do about 2 months ago is I got asked to be a judge for the features at South by Southwest.
Oh.
So I judged the nominated films for Best Feature at South by Southwest in New South Wales.
Yeah.
I can say that. Yeah.
Yeah, of course you
problem.
can,
I mean, it's
yeah.
been announced now. The winner's been announced. We chose one. It was great. I particularly want to talk about one of the nominees. I will say this, and I'm not even shitting you, all of them were really good. There's a reason they were all nominated.
So I did the shorts. I was a judge on the shorts, and I don't like talking too much about it because I'm always worried about like going too much onto the inside. But I had exactly the same feeling. I had exactly the same thing. We went into the meeting about it and I was just like, fuck all of them, any of them. I was the chillest dude I've ever been because I was like, they were all fucking sick.
Yeah. And what I think, like, so, and again, I truly loved all of them. I'm not talking about this one because it was my favorite. It was just had the big, like, I have not stopped thinking. I think about it all the time. And last week I said I saw One Battle After Another and that I think, understandably, it might be my film of the year. It's in competition with this.
Okay.
And it's because of the impact it's had. I can't stop thinking about it.
Okay, cool.
It is an ultra micro budget film from Canada, directed by Grace Glowicki.
Okay.
It was released at the top of the year and has done its festival run. I'm pretty sure it ended at South by Southwest in New South Wales, so it's been around since the top of the year. It's 4 people that made the whole film. It's filmed off 2 cameras on something like $9,000, like micro budget, and it's called Dead Lover. And it is the most fun, whimsical, fantastical film I've seen. Definitely for adults, but it's got this real fairy tale kind of quality to it. It's about a woman who works as a gravedigger in a cemetery and she stinks. She smells like shit. And she meets him and no one wants to be around her, so she can't find anyone to be around. And then she meets a man who loves her smell and he falls in love with her and they do lots of sex and stuff. And then I don't want to give too much away. I don't want to do big spoilers for this. But then something big happens.
Great.
And she needs to find her lover. And it's just had such a big impact on me. I cried and I laughed and it was just so representative of what you can do if you've got such a clear vision and no money.
Awesome.
I think that money would have ruined it to a degree.
Yeah.
I'm sure they might not have thought that.
Yeah.
But I loved this film. If you can get your hands on it or if you can see it, I highly recommend it. I would say it's a comedy horror, but it's not scary at all. It's almost like a fantasy film. And kind of like, I guess kind of sort of like John Waters movies. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I just really wanted to talk about that. I would love to talk about the other nominees as well, but this one in particular might be one of my favourite movies. And I didn't think it, when I first saw it, I was like, that was great, but I have not stopped thinking about it, and I highly recommend Dead Lover. Yeah.
Good rec. Let me have a think about what I can recommend or what I can say. What's something cool I've watched in this period of time? We're being dishonest with week. What's something cool I watched while on tour? I'm going to go with Sorry Baby.
Okay.
Which I mentioned before, in contention for film of the year. Also don't want to spoil it. Also don't want to talk too much about it. I really won't. I think it's done a lot of its cinema release. It might even be available to watch at home now. It's just about someone recovering from trauma and it tells the story over like 5 years. I think the less you know about it, the better. I've probably almost given away too much in saying what I just said. But it is so beautifully written and so well written and so like pitch perfect. It's funny. It's really funny, but it's so moving and so real. It's told out of order. And I've watched a lot of things that have been told out of order in the last few months. And a lot of the time you kind of go, what was the point of that? Or like, what were they But this, it's like, that makes perfect sense. It's just told out of order, not in an intellectual way, just in a gut way. And it's just like incredible. And I'm watching this film and I'm like, I knew it was a first-time writer-director. And I often think there's a lot of writer-directors now that, I wish they had someone else help them write or I wish they had someone else help them direct, because it's very hard to see your writing as a director through fresh eyes. But the whole time I'm like, this is incredibly directed. Like the writing is wonderful. The directing is wonderful. This is a writer-director here. This is someone who is one to watch. Also, this lead actor is incredible. I've not really seen her in anything. She is amazing. Her performance is so pitch perfect. It's so subtle. It's an American film. It's so subtle, but it's funny and it's dry. And it's one of those performances where it's like, here is an actor. This is what I was thinking watching it. Here is an actor who is really, really smart and really good, but also they've got really great trust in their director and the director is guiding them. I watched it on a flight. I get off a flight. I look it up. It's writer, director, star. She's one person. It's like...
So no wonder she understands herself what she needs.
No, but like usually that's not what you get. Usually like it's like she's been directed well. Like that's how good she is as an actor. That it's so subtle. And it's hard to do subtle when you don't have a director. Do you know what I mean? Like it's so subtle. And there's like... It's one of those films where... You're watching it and for me at least, you know, because someone who doesn't really have the lived experience... I think film is at its best when it's an empathy machine. And this is a film where what it chooses to show, what it chooses not to show, what it chooses to, you know, all of that is incredible and it's so well done. But also, I'm watching it and I'm like, this is really good, this is really well done. But it's that cumulative thing, you know, like when you're like, I'm like watching it, I'm like, this is really well done, I really am enjoying it. And then I got about an hour in and there's like one sequence about jury duty, where it just hit me. And I was just like, oh, and this has been, it's not that it's been building to it, it's just like slowly unraveling. And then there was like 3 or 4 scenes after it that are just like so powerful, but they're so subtle and so small. And it's just this like quiet, it is one of the most impressive debut films I've ever seen. It's so good. It's just really well done. So Sorry Baby, that's my something cool I've watched.
I guess we should say what we're doing for Christmas-orama. Off you pop, Zach.
For this week's Christmas-orama, we are watching the Christmas classic. If you're an American, it's much more of a Christmas classic in America. But for everyone, really, It's a Wonderful Life.
Zach's favourite Christmas film.
Mm-hmm. We'll be talking about that this Thursday on Christmas-orama. Tom, thank you so much. You're not going to be with us on Thursday. No. Thank you. It's been a pleasure having you. I just wanted to tell you about the Hadron Collider because I know you like physics.
Yeah.
But you didn't say much, so in hindsight, you could have just listened when you did the edit. But, you know, thought you might have some opinions on the matter.
No, it's fantastic to listen.
That's cool, man. Come next time.
I will.
They said we're welcome next time. And they might let us see the colliders because the detectors because they're going to be doing stuff to it.
Fuck yeah.
Thanks, everyone. See you soon.
Bye.
The Mish and Zach podcast is recorded on the lands of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. We believe that our collective culture will never reach its full potential until we embrace the history and the truth of the oldest cultures of this land.